Hey buddies, before you reach for your wallet and spend your big money on the ultimate computer, let me give you a reality check. Because don't waste your money thinking that only the priciest machine in the market can give you the best performance. Of course, in a way, yes. But do you really think that you can utilize the machine's full potential? I mean, if your daily tasks don't throw significant challenge capable enough of utilizing the machine's full potential, then you might as well be burning cash. Consider this. You wouldn't invest in a sports car if your daily commute just involves picking up groceries, right? Similarly, even for computers, if your daily tasks, if your daily activities doesn't demand that power, then you need not go for the high-end models always. Today, we are going to delve deep into the world of processors, the brain behind computers, and try to figure out how to choose wisely. Grab a seat because I believe your wallet deserves smarter investments. Imagine you're about to buy a computer. Let me give you an analogy, okay? Picture this, you're about to start a pizza point at your place. The first and primary important thing for you is to identify and determine the number of customers you anticipate. You need to do this very carefully or else you'll end up in losses. Similarly, even in computers, you need to figure out why you need it, the purpose, and then you need to figure out the requirements. Only then you can identify an appropriate and relevant machine that can meet your requirements. In computer, apart from the operating system and various hardware components, the pivotal components that can potentially elevate or diminish your computer's performance would be RAM, processor, that is the CPU, and GPU. Now let's see what RAM is. I think most of you know that RAM means random access memory. But to put it simply, I would say that RAM is like the most happening notice board in your kitchen of your pizza point, which is jam-packed with all the active orders. Similarly, RAM stores all the active instructions that needs to be executed and processed. So of course, larger the RAM, so obviously more instructions can be juggled simultaneously. But hey, sometimes in restaurants, you know that during peak hours, I think these notice boards will be completely filled with all the orders. Sometimes active orders can go overboard. During such situations, restaurants are forced to add an additional notice board to accommodate all the active orders. Similarly, more than one RAM can be used to reduce the workload if the workload is really too much. These RAMs will be synchronously utilized to improve the efficiency. So I would say that based on the workload you decide to assign to your system, you need to decide about the size of your RAM. So I suggest that if your daily activities include simple tasks like browsing, watching movies, or using simpler tools like Microsoft Office, I would suggest you to go with a RAM of 8 GB. But if you are a really intensive gamer, you need your system for extensive purposes like complicated programming stuff, I would suggest you to go for a RAM of 16 GB or over. Now let's move on to the big boss. Not this big boss, guys. Our chief chef responsible for delivering all your active orders. In our case, it's the CPU which is responsible for executing all the active instructions. Have you ever heard the term cores, C-O-R-E-S, associated with CPU? If you are ever wondering what cores mean, like how to choose an ideal configuration, don't worry, I'm here for you. In simple terms, cores are like the brigade of sous chefs working together to prepare multiple orders simultaneously. Each core is a processing unit capable of handling its own set of tasks, making your system a multitasking machine. The more the cores, the more tasks your system can tackle simultaneously. But remember, it's not about overloading your system. It's about optimizing it for the tasks you throw in its way. So while choosing cores, be very wise. Make sure that your cores are aligned with the demand of your work complexity. Apart from the cores of the CPU, there are a few other features responsible for ensuring a smoother workflow. The first one is clock speed. Clock speed is nothing but the number of cycles your CPU would perform within 1 second. In simple terms, it's if the clock speed is really higher, more number of instructions will be processed and executed by your CPU within that given time frame. And the second one is Turbo frequency. Turbo frequency is nothing but the maximum limit to which your clock speed can be pushed during the times when there is a demand for peak processing power. It's like that Red Bull movement for your CPU. And the third one is cache memory. It's like that rack in the kitchen which is used for storing the most frequently used ingredients and recipes so that our chefs can access them from their fingertips. So similarly, cache memory is used to store the instructions that are frequently used so that whenever CPU needs them, it can access them in the form of a speed dial. Let's move on to the next most important component, GPU. I think most of you know it as graphical processing unit, right? It's the Picasso of your pizza point that is responsible for visuals. It is specifically designed to make sure that to accelerate the processing of all the visual data. It becomes critical especially if your workload demands high performance graphics or if you are an extensive gamer. GPUs significantly speed up video editing and machine learning tasks. And they also excel in parallel processing. Just like the CPU, GPU is also benefited from some of the internal features such as a good number of cores, a better cache memory, and a higher clock speed. In addition to this, GPU has some other important feature called VRAM. If you are a gamer, this one is for you. VRAM is specifically designed to store the content related to visual data. It ensures that GPU can swiftly access all the images and other elements related to the visual data in order to produce visually stunning content. Currently in the world, there are only 3 prominent companies, the firms that are producing these processors, and they are Intel, AMD and Apple. Intel is like the old guard. With its rich history and rich culture, Intel's processors are like the workhorses of the tech world. Whether it be your office work, whether it be the gaming, or whether it be your daily activities, Intel got you covered. Intel has i5, i7 and i9 families with various generations. Don't just fall for the numbers. In some cases, i5 12th generation is way better than i7 9th generation. So make sure to check all the pivotal components that I have mentioned earlier and ensure that these components are aligned with your work requirements. For gamers and content creators, I would recommend going for anything starting from i7 9th generation. Now let's turn our attention to the AMD processors. Picture them as the newcomers who are shaking the tech world. They are specifically designed to deliver that raw power. It's like you have traded your sedan for some sporty all-terrain vehicle, agile and powerful. If you are an Apple person or a fan of Apple's ecosystem, Apple's custom designed M series processor is something that you can't stop loving. The first in that M series, M1, has taken the tech world by storm. It's like owning a luxury car, sleek, efficient and boasting a level of craftsmanship that's hard to match. Apple has seriously integrated hardware and software, creating a symphony of efficiency. It handles everyday tasks with finesse. It's like having the most powerful sword to conquer the tech world. So the million-dollar question here is, what should you choose? I would say that if you love playing safe games and if you are a Windows person especially, I would suggest you to go for Intel. And remember, Intel has a lot of options. But I strictly believe that most of our daily activities like watching movies, browsing and some other daily tasks like simply using some Microsoft tools or any other simple tools doesn't require that highly powered multitasking machines. But if you want to go for something new, if you want to try something new, and if you want to experience some raw power, I suggest you to go for AMD Ryzen. And especially if you're a gamer, you're gonna love that. And of course, if you're an Apple fan, there is nothing to say. M series is like having a crown jewel in your tech kingdom. In the end, the choice boils down to your personal preferences and requirements. All I can say is choose wisely. And remember, all the features you choose should be aligned with your work requirements, and only then you can get to use their full potential. That's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching the video. Do like, share and subscribe and stay tuned for the next video.